Okay, good morning, everybody. So as Ariel said, we are super excited about this challenge with Melissa and Alex over at Movement. They did it with our team back in, I think it was like October, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
The timing of it was perfect, guys. As you may remember, builders were struggling a little bit the last quarter of last year. We had way too much inventory on the ground at one time. And so as an industry, we were really struggling with, getting that inventory moved, and everything had paused. We are personally feeling like a wave of buyers right now. So I think that's definitely shifting. Part of that could be in relation to the fact that we really did this, but I think we're seeing it across the board with all of our team, a lot of agents, everybody. Point being, we were sitting there doing these behaviors at a time where everybody else was just trying to figure out why they weren't getting leads, why they weren't getting traffic from the new construction side. And by implementing this, Team Raleigh and specifically Ariel and I just accelerated. True Homes is always going to be one of those brokers who or builders who puts things into place so that we are in a good place when that kind of behavior happens. But there were builders who were down with cancellation rates because people couldn't afford it. People didn't want to do it. They didn't like the way they were going around their business. Some of them as high as 69%. Whereas True Homes as a region, Raleigh finished, or as a company, we finished 40% above our goal in Q4 of last year. Raleigh was one of the leaders of that, the Raleigh-Durham area, and specifically myself and Ariel, we went from moving from neighborhood to neighborhood where you usually take a month or so to ramp up, and we were able to, in a couple weeks or so, just be knocking out sales. Like, I think we had on average about 6 to 10, kind of in that 8 range each month, right, Ariel?
Mm-hmm.
Some months a little bit lighter, some months a little bit heavier. But that's just kind of the background of how that helped us. And honestly, you guys, this is very, very basic stuff. And I think sometimes that's exactly what we need, is to go back to the basics, but it's just somebody telling you how to do it, how to implement it, and how to build on it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to continue talking about the challenge. Ariel's about to go over logistics because today's the first day, so that you know how to get into the calls, where the information you can find is that's valuable to you. And then we're going to shift over to a 20-minute topic. So every week we're going to have a check-in, and the first few minutes of the check-in are going to be literally checking in, seeing how everybody's doing with the challenge, accountability, things like that. And then we're going to bring you something of value for 20 minutes that you can use throughout your calls that week. Something outside of just what's in the book, something that is practical knowledge that you can use. So this week, Alex and Melissa are going to go over how to pre-qualify your clients over the phone. Not literally, you're not taking credit, you're not taking social security numbers unless that's part of your normal everyday process. But no, these are questions to ask to know that when you get in the car with somebody, even if they're in the process with the lender, you know, are they actually qualifiable? And these are questions asked to know who to get them to, what kind of program they might be thinking of. It's going to save you so much time, and it's going to save them time. So we're really super excited about this challenge, and I think I'm going to head it on over to Ariel for logistics.
Perfect. So Nicole kind of gave you a little bit of an overview, but basically how it works is if you've bought the book or you downloaded the audiobook, I believe it's free. Each day for the next 60 days, because we had one come out last night, so 60 days, there will be a video emailed to you at roughly 8:30 in the morning. You can read the chapter or listen to the chapter in your audiobook, and each chapter, guys, is like 1 to 2 pages. Like, I'm not a reader, but I was able to finish each chapter every day. It takes about 5 minutes to read each chapter. So you read the chapter, you do your whatever the activity is for the day, and then you do your lead gen for that 1 hour each day. What we are trying to provide, like Nicole is saying, is accountability and extra information that you can use during these calls. So like I said, each morning you will receive around 8:30 in the morning, you'll receive the video, which it's Scott Grove talking about the chapter for the day. You'll want to read the chapter, listen to the chapter, and then do your lead gen. Each week we will host the accountability call at this time, 9 a.m. every Wednesday morning. And the first 10, it's supposed to just be a 30-minute meeting. The first 10 minutes will just be about wins, challenges, anything that you came across that was interesting to your business that you'd like to share, and then a 20-minute topic, which will change every week to give you nuggets for your lead gen calls. If you have not registered, if this was shared to you, if you saw this on social media and you just click the link, In the chat window, there is the constant contact link. It's the first link that I posted. Please make sure you register. That will get you on the virtual call, the Teams calls from here on out. And then we did create a Facebook group for this, for accountability, help, questions, if you want to share wins, anything like that, to help create the camaraderie that we're looking for this challenge. So feel free to join us at the Facebook group as well. If there isn't anything else that you can think of, Nicole, or if you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat window. Otherwise, we will roll on to the next topic, which should be Alex and Melissa with Movement Mortgage. They're our co-sponsors for this lead gen challenge, and they will be speaking to you today about pre-qualifying your clients over the phone when you've got them on the phone from these lead gen calls.
So really quickly before we jump into that, I do want to point out, if you guys did not notice in the calendar invite, this call was via Zoom because it's easier to just share with the world. But moving forward, we're going to move over to Teams. So that's why you need to be registered so that we can make sure that we add you to the calendar invite that has the Teams link in it moving forward. That's a capacity thing. It's just easier to use for this kind of large event. So just FYI.
Okay, hi guys, I'm Melissa. So I'm gonna just really quick plug Scott Groves, who wrote this book, is my business coach, which is why I'm like, yay, Scott, you're amazing. So if y'all hear me like doting on him, it's just because Scott has personally helped me transform my business and take me from a good loan officer to one of the top 5% in my company. So Alex and I are huge Scott fans, and you're going to hear me talk about that a lot. For today, the 20-minute topic, pre-qualifying your clients over the phone, there is a lot that I think all of us as a whole, as a team, need to work on together. And one of them is not wasting your time. Getting someone in your car who's not been qualified is a waste of your time, money, and your car's resources, but we won't go down that road. So one of the very first questions you should ask is not if they've talked to a lender, who have they talked to? If you give them the opportunity to say, yeah, I've talked to a lender, you're going to have to dig through a lot more questions to find out if they really have, or if they just Googled something. So start with, who is your lender? Who are you talking to for your financing? What is your financing plan? You would be surprised how many people just say, I want to buy a house and call a real estate agent, and they think that you as the agent have the plan for them. And every one of you are amazing, but I understand that not every one of you can plan everybody else's lives. So we have to just start with the basic question, who is your lender, right? After that, then once they start talking about it, ask the easy stuff. If they don't know what they're doing, the very first question is, how much do you have for a down payment? And what are you looking for a monthly payment? Immediately grab your phone while you're talking to them and text your favorite lender and say, I'm sitting in front of Sally right now. She wants a $1,200 payment. We do anything with that today? If you text that to Alex or I, we're probably going to ask you, do they have a 50% down payment? With the market where it is today, $1,200 payment's a little more difficult than it was yesterday. The next question is, we all forget to ask this. Have you served in the military? Have you served in the military? VA loans are so much easier than we all believe in our mind that they are. Ask the question, have you served in the military? Where are you looking to buy? Maybe we can do a USDA loan. How many people are in your family? Ask just the basic questions up front. And then before you start getting into the numbers, get a general idea of their time frame. Because if you've got somebody who's looking to move in 2 weeks because their lease is up, you're not going to want to go to that company online who sends rocket ships up to the moon. You want to call somebody local who you can have the honest conversation and say, can I realistically get this done in 2 weeks? If you want to start getting down the road of payments, I'm going to send Ariel and Nicole a quick little, if interest rates are this, and the price point is that, here's a general idea of what the payment looks like to kind of give you a quick little cheat sheet that you can have printed out next to you. And if somebody says, hey, I'm looking for $1,600 a month, you can look real quick and go, well, rates are somewhere in this neighborhood. We're probably going to be looking at $350.
We'll put it in the Facebook group too.
Oh,
We'll email it. We'll put it in the Facebook group.
I can put it in the Facebook group for you, Nicole. I keep forgetting about it.
Yeah, we can try to do that weekly while we're going through this, just to give you guys a little cheat sheet going into the day, and plus or minus a little bit, obviously, and put down payment information and all that with it.
Yeah, there's another website that Alex and I are huge proponents of that we send to the team at True often, and that will tell you what the national average is for mortgage rates, not movements rates, not the stagecoach rates, but the national average. So to give you a general idea when you're talking numbers with borrowers. Alex, what am I missing?
Are you employed?
Okay, that's a really important question too.
It amazes me how many people walk in my door and they're like, yeah, we don't have jobs, but we're gonna buy a house.
So a lot of agents now are seeing people that are moving to the area. If people are moving to the area, are you remote? Get just some basic overview information about the client, about their situation. Because when you make that intro to the lender, we may have 2 or 3 and we need to know, okay, they've got a 7 credit score and no job, or they've got, you know, they're prime candidates. So we can move on the ones quickly for you that get you in front of, you know, the right clients in a timely manner. I think that's it. I mean, so get just very, very high level basic information to make the intros.
Yeah. So the other thing that I would like to add to your radar, this time last year, every lender out in the world was pre-approving everybody in like 20-30 minutes. And it was easy because rates were low, and there was, okay, maybe a year and a half ago, maybe not quite a year ago, but rates were lower and it was easier to do a quick glance and go, oh yeah, they can totally afford this. Right now, I can tell you that our team, we went from 30-minute pre-approvals to 2-hour pre-approvals. So please, please, please love your lender like you love yourself and give them grace. And if you need a rush, just go ahead and have that conversation with your lender and say, hey, this person really wants to get in my car. I know it's 6 o'clock on a Friday night. We're leaving at 9 Saturday morning, and set that expectation. Otherwise, we're going to flop. All your lenders, not just Alex and I, but any lender on the other end of the phone. So giving grace for a little extra time because it's harder right now, and letting them know what their expectation needs to be. Like, I'm trying to get this couple going. The other thing is, we are noticing a lot of cash buyers are coming out again. Cash is amazing, but the cost to borrow money, even though all of us are going, oh, rates have gone up, the cost to borrow money is cheap. Don't just assume they have cash and they don't want to talk to a lender. Try to get at least the door open for a conversation, because we can help them leverage. And what could have been a cash buyer for 1 property could be an investor for 4 properties.
You also want to take a look to, whereas you might have gotten a lot of no's over the last 2 years because rates were low and people were picking your top qualifying buyers, we can get more creative than we have had to over the last 2 years. So even if you have somebody that you think is not qualifying, still try to get them in front of a lender. Let them put a plan together, because while the market's hot right now, we may see another downturn, and that way your lender can help you build up a farm so you have, you know, some stuff for the next 6 to 12 months. And there are a lot more programs that haven't been utilized because they haven't had to be over the last little bit, but there are people that would have qualified, you know, 2 years ago that don't qualify for your standard mortgages now, that we can still get into some of those more creative programs. And huge plug, if you have somebody that's pre-approved 6 months ago, please get them pre-approved now.
Yes.
I was just getting ready to say, so some of the behavior that we've seen recently, like for example, we had clients that they had something else going on ultimately, but they were ready to buy. They thought they couldn't buy at a certain amount because when they first spoke to Alex and Melissa over at Movement in November, they were at a certain payment range and a certain price point. And then what kind of change can that make for somebody? Let's run some you guys, this makes them so nervous, and I'm going to put them on the spot. They hate when I do this. 500,000.
Calculator open before you do it.
400,000 prime credit, conventional loan today with 5% down. What range of a difference would that have made between where the interest rates are today and when they were closer to 7 in November? So they're going to do a little math.
About 300.
So I got it, Alex. That way we don't talk over each other for a second.
I already
Otherwise, we're really good at
You already did it.
Okay, at 400,000 loan amount today, you're looking, not including bells and whistles, just principal and interest. You're looking at about 2470.
Right, compared to where it was around the high 6s or 7s in November.
So back in October, November, that would have been 2663.
Okay, so about $200 a month on a $400,000 a month. And the reason that Alex said 3, you guys, is because lenders will always buffer you. I promise you, they will always buffer you, no matter which way you go. They hate when I call them and I'm like, I got 5 minutes, run this payment scenario for me. So don't be that person. That's what the is asking for.
We'll do it. It just the last thing we want to do is set you guys up to fail. So a range is always going to be better than a set number because it never fails. If you quote a set number, rates are going to go up. If we give you a range, rates are probably going to go down. So it's better to set clients up for a little bit higher expectation and then have them be pleasantly surprised than the other way around.
Right.
Shameless plug, real quick. Do you guys know what's happening today?
Before we move on, can I ask the follow-up to my question where I was going with this for them?
Sorry.
At $200 a month, how much would that generally equal in buying power? Like, so somebody could have been at 26. It's how much?
About $6 per thousand. I would say
Yeah.
it's $6.50 per thousand right now based on where the market is. So $30,000 in purchase price.
So somebody who was approved in November could theoretically, for the same monthly payment right now, if nothing changed, afford about $30,000 more house.
Roughly.
Yeah, that's important information, guys. We dig into them like this all the time, which is why they they get nervous when I do it in front of a bunch of people and record it. But this is a relationship you can have with your lender. These are questions you need to be asking. Did you get pre-qualified earlier? I had somebody walk my door that got pre-qualified a year ago, and thank goodness Melissa and Alex were actually right there. So they I saw them come out of the corner of my eye, slowly walk over, and now they're part of the conversation, because that was a very potentially dangerous conversation for somebody who was qualified in the 3s and 4s and had like no idea where we were today. But they were able to walk them through that and how all that works. Now they ended up buying a house, so that's great. All right, I'll let you do your thing now, Melissa.
Okay, so do you guys all know what's happening today in the mortgage world?
Barry says that stuff's happening today in the morning.
So the feds are meeting today, and most likely they're going to increase rates, right? I can tell you currently, right now at 9:23 in the morning, the market is responding positively to what's going to happen later on this afternoon. But there are two very drastic ways today can play out. So if you guys have anybody who's on the fence that's closing in the next 30 days or so, you need to actively be having conversations. Are they locked, and are they prepared for what could happen today? Rates could get worse today and tomorrow, or rates could get substantially better. Have the conversation. Anybody who has somebody closing in the next 30 days, today is going to be a pivotal day to watch what happens.
That's fantastic advice. I just want to kind of roll through really quick before we get off the call in the last 5 minutes. You guys, you know how we operate when we sit down with people, Melissa and Alex. So some of the questions that I would say is like, you know, what is your current living situation? So the way a lender is going to ask and the way you're going to ask is going to be a little bit different, right? Because they're expecting it from a lender. They're not expecting direct questions from you guys. So like some of the stuff they were talking about, I would translate that as, where are you currently living? Why are you wanting to move? That's another big one for a different day. And then questions around like, do you currently own your house or are you renting? Are you planning on selling that? Don't assume that they're planning on selling it. It might be part of their financial plan that they're not. And I know that you all want the listings, but that is you can navigate that conversation a lot more efficiently if you know what their plan is. And then, like Melissa said, ask them who their lender is, right? Then you can start digging into more specifics. What monthly payment do you want to be at? How much cash are you planning to put down? When you've broken that ice with the first 4 questions and then ask them who their lender is when you're doing a consultation, it's going to be a lot smoother. We do this all day, every day with people who have never met us before and just walk straight into our door. If we can do it, you guys can do it with a client that's having a full consultation with you. But I would personally phrase it like that. It's more consultative, and then they're teed up for when they talk to the lenders. And the other thing that we're really good about doing is if somebody is ready right now and they need to wrap their heads around numbers, we'll text them. We usually know at the beginning of the day if they're working or not, or who's working and everything. We stay in good contact with our lenders, but hey, are you available for a quick call? And they'll do ranges, not specifics until they have an application, but ranges, and it helps people wrap their head around, do they want to look at that $500,000 house or that $400,000 house? So that's just my insight as an agent from the value that they give, that they're telling you guys right now. And I guess we can open it up for questions unless you guys have something specific you want to talk about, Melissa and Alex.
No, just, I mean, it is hugely important to have that conversation about price range before you ever start looking at houses, because the last thing you want to do is set yourself up to fail, because people are gonna look online at the Zillow payments. They're gonna see those inaccurate payment estimates, and they're gonna fall in love with a $600,000 house when really their budget's $450,000, and that's just making your job exponentially harder. So having those conversations up front it really is helpful for everybody involved, client included.
Perfect.
I put mine and Alex's contact information in the chat box. We are this laid back all the time, especially when I'm caffeinated, I'm this laid back. So if you need anything, even if it's direction or you want to, I had an incident happen and I'd like to know how to do better or handle it better from a lending perspective in the future, you want to just grab a cup of coffee, Alex and I, email us, text us, Facebook us, hell, send pigeon carriers. We will answer you.
And if you prefer wine over coffee, that would be me. I like coffee too, but Melissa won't drink wine with me.
Guys, I think that's a really good point. This whole purpose of this is, Amy, this whole purpose of this is for us to be here as a resource for you. We have, over the years and all of our combined experience, sold a bunch of homes, like hundreds and hundreds of homes. So we have done this several times, and we want to pass this on to you because we want you to be very successful. So reach out to us. Like they said, one-on-ones in the Facebook group. That's going to be a great place to reach out with questions. And Melissa and Alex are in there so they can answer questions. And then we can just help as needed. Ariel and I can meet with you if you want to talk strategically about how to make your lead gen effective, how you can do things with us that's considered lead gen, and we'll talk more about that as we go. But just remember to stay in touch. And if you want to share this with your friends, there is actually in the email that went out this morning, that constant contact link. You can send it directly, or it's in the chat. So if you have any specific questions about how to make sure you're enrolled for everything, feel free to reach out to us directly via email or Facebook. But does anybody have any questions about what we talked about today?
Feel free to throw it in the chat if you have any questions. Otherwise, we're very, very excited to have you all here. I know a lot of you respond to my message in the Facebook event page with the muscle arm. So I know you guys are raring and ready to go, and we love that. So if that's it for you, feel free, you can hop off. It is 9:30. Our goal is to stay in that 30-minute window for you to just pop in and pop out. If you have questions, concerns, anything like that, feel free to stay on. We'll be hanging out here, or throw it in the chat. But we appreciate you all, and we look forward to some really great results from this lead gen challenge.
Thanks, guys. You guys are all so sweet.